quick, back with another coach's tip. Today we're gonna do an overhead stretch on the plate, okay? So this can be done at home on a couch or any kind of surface you have, but to be honest, the stretch works best with a rolling object 18 inches high. So a bumper plate, and I'm using a nice thick one for stability, just makes the stretch a little bit easier. Now, just really quickly, remember, we always talk about in classes or when we're dealing with clients that when you're stretching, don't worry about what muscles you're stretching, but worry about the movement pattern. So this stretch is for anyone who does have overhead tight position, right? So anyone who can't get into this position correctly, which I'll do another video at a different point on how you can do a basic field assessment or an at-home assessment to test if you are tight overhead. But most of you know it from movements that you do. So push jerks, overhead, push press, things like that, okay? All right, so we're gonna get into the stretch. I'm gonna demo it first just so you can see it, and then I'm gonna talk through how you use appropriate breathing and how you can set yourself up for success with the stretch. So stretch just simply looks like this. You're gonna come up into a slight knee position, roll the plate out, and this is where we're gonna end up. Now, the most important, in my opinion, part of this stretch is gonna be the breathing pattern that we add to it, all right? So I'll try and breathe nice and loud so that you can maybe hear it in the video, but I'll talk our way through it as well. When you first start to stretch, what I'd like you to do is maybe do some PVC pipe pass-throughs, do some arm circles, actually get the upper body warmed up. You could even be hanging from a barbell, or the rig or a pull-up bar or something like that. Anything that's gonna start to warm up the shoulder just a little bit is gonna be an advantage before getting into the stretch. Not a requirement, but an advantage. Okay, then after that, our breathing pattern is going to be on big inhalations through the nose and exhalations through the mouth with pauses in between. Okay, so I'll try and time it once we get into it. Now, when you get into the plate, you need to kind of practice a little bit to get the plate in the appropriate position that you want it in, but you're going to use the roll of the plate to help traction the joint a little bit. So you want to think about having your butt go closest possible to that wall while my hands are extending this way, and I increase the stretch in my lat and my overhead position here, okay? So we're going to start off, we're just going to kind of allow our hips to pop up a little bit, roll the plate out a smidge. I'm just going to back up so I'm not out of the screen here. Now we're just gonna kind of play around. You can do this with one arm, you can do it with two, okay? So I spend a little bit of time just bouncing in and out, finding my position, and then once I have it, I'm then just gonna get into position and hold for a certain period of time, somewhere between 7 and 15 seconds, where I can find just a comfortable stretch. It shouldn't be painful, just a comfortable stretch. And then I'm gonna start my deep breathing technique. Now the breathing technique is gonna be into the mouth and fill up the thoracic and the abdominal cavity. I did say mouth, but sorry, through the nose. So fill it up nice and big, then take a 2-second pause, and then slowly, just naturally let the air flow out. Take a 2-second pause at the end, and then repeat this as many times as possible or as you feel necessary in the stretch. So usually I like to do a minimum of about 4 rounds of that, all right? But you can go all the way up to 10 rounds if needed. Okay, here we go. So I find my light stretch, I hang on to it, ease into position if I have to. Now big breath in. Hold and breathe out. And as I'm breathing out, I'm pushing the plate away and letting my hips sit back. Hold for 2, big breath in. Hold, breathe out naturally. Hold for 2, big breath in. Hold, breathe out. All right, so you'd of course do that for a little bit longer, but I hope you could see or hear the breathing mechanics that I was using. And remember that as you're breathing out, you want to think about relaxing, allowing the body to relax. Don't fight against the stretch, okay? So sometimes you might want to not just time with the breathing, but you might want to time with the relaxation of the muscle. So if the muscle kind of takes a moment to relax, that's when you start easing into the next stretch, okay? So I hope that was helpful, guys. If you have any questions, put them down below and we'll chat soon. Thanks a lot.